This is Mrs. Cotter. We're going to be working on week 5, day 2. So below you're going to see the fluency. It says, for the directions, write the fraction represented by the shaded parts of the whole. So we're going to look at number 1, the example first, so that you know what to do for the rest of the fluency. So if you see the picture right here, we see a circle and we see one part shaded and we see 2 equal parts. So because we see that there's one part shaded and 2 equal parts, that would be 1/2. So I want you to go ahead and finish the rest of the pictures that you see below. And I'm going to show you the answers, but make sure that you do the problems before looking at the answers. So here are the answers for the rest of the pictures 1 through 10. So you can go ahead and check your answers to make sure that they're right. All right, let's move on. It says new learning. It says show a number bond representing what is shaded and unshaded in the figure. Draw a different model that would be presented by the same number bond. So we're going to look at number 1. If you see number 1, they put 1 at the top in their number bond for the whole. That represents this whole entire picture, one whole. Then they put a circle for the unshaded part. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. They put 4 and then there's 9 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And they put 4 9ths in one part in their number bond. That's for the unshaded part. If you look at this part, this is the fraction for the part that is not shaded. So if you count the not shaded part, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they put 5 9ths, and that 9 represents the number of pieces. So they just made a number bond splitting up the shaded and the unshaded part, and that 1 represents the whole entire picture. So let's move on. And this just explains what I just explained now. This shows the whole. This is for the unshaded part, or for the shaded part, and this is for the unshaded part. All right, let's move on. So now, here they said that this is the shape that they're working on, this triangle. They did an example of drawing a different model that is going to match this triangle. So they did the shaded part. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to write the fraction for the shaded part first. 4, and let's see how many parts there is altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they did 4 9ths. That is the shaded part. I'm going to put S for shaded. And then I'm going to count the unshaded part. I'm going to put U for unshaded. So let's count the unshaded part. That's the white triangles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I already know that there's 9 equal pieces because that's what I found out for the shaded part. And what they did is, instead of drawing the same exact picture, they decided to use a different shape and show 4 9ths. Let's make sure that this shows 4 9ths. So we said with the shaded part that there's going to be 4 equal pieces shaded. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So they did that part right. And we need to make sure that there's 9 equal pieces all together. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they showed 4 9ths for the shaded part. Now we need to make sure that they did it correctly for the unshaded part. So we need to count 5 unshaded pieces. That's the white pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they did that correct. And I'm not going to count 9 again because I already counted that there was 9 pieces for the shaded part. So number 2 says draw a number bond with 2 parts showing the shaded and unshaded fractions of each figure. So just like last time, they put 1 at the top of their number bond that shows this whole entire picture. And then before I show you the other 2 parts, let's figure out. We got to find the shaded part first. So let's count. So 1, 2, 3. So 3 shaded, and let's count how many pieces are all together. 1, 2, 3, 4. So one part of the number bond should be 3/4. Let's look. Whoops, I showed you the wrong part. So we see 3/4 right here. And what they did is they added the unit fraction for 3/4 because each piece is going to equal 1/4. This equals 1/4, this equals 1/4, this equals 1/4, this equals 1/4. And then the other number bond, which I showed you already, that's the unshaded part. There's one triangle unshaded, and we know that there's 4 equal pieces. And because there's nothing coming here, it already shows a unit fraction of 1/4. The only difference here is now they did their unshaded and their shaded, and then they just have little pieces of the unit fraction coming out. The unit fraction of 3/4 is 1/4. So they did 1/4 3 times. 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, which equals 3/4. Now I've shown my students in this before, but if I write 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 3 times, it should equal 3/4. Now, the number in the bottom is 4, so it doesn't change. The number on the bottom is not going to change. But the number on the top, I'm going to add. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3. And that shows 3/4. So if I added all of these 3 together, it would equal 3/4. All right, let's move on now. I think we're going to start trying problems on your own. Okay, so let's read the directions first. It says, show a number bond representing what is shaded and unshaded in each of the figures. Draw a different visual model that would be represented by the same number bond. So let's look at our sample first. If we see our sample, they have a shape and then they have a number bond. So we're going to look at the number bond first. They put a 1 at the top. That represents the whole entire shape right here. And then we have one piece, and that's going to represent the shaded part. So let's count our shaded part to make sure that that 5 is for how many pieces are shaded. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here we have 5, and let's make sure that there's 8 equal pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they did it correctly. 5/8 is for the shaded part. Now let's look at the unshaded part. So there should be 3 unshaded pieces. 1, 2, 3. They put 3 on top, and we already know that there's 8 equal pieces because we counted that for the shaded part. Now what they did is they drew a different shape. It says that you need to draw a different visual model, so a different shape than what they did. So they did a circle, and they showed that there's 5/8. That's the unshaded. That here they did the unshaded part. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 8 equal pieces. And then they did 3/8, 1, 2, 3 for the shaded part, 3/8. So they did backwards, but this is still correct because the number bond shows 5/8 and 3/8. So this figure shows 5/8 and 3/8. So now let's try this one. Remember, what is going to be at the top that represents the whole entire shape? That's going to be 1. Now, let's put in our first number bond attached our shaded part. So let's count how many shaded pieces there are. 1, 2, 3. That's going to be my first number on top. And now we need to count how many equal pieces there are all together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my first number bond is going to have 3/5. Now we got to do the unshaded part. So how many unshaded pieces are there? 1, 2. And how many equal pieces were there all together? We figured out that there was 5 because we found out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 equal pieces. Now you can do any shape that you want to show 3/5 and 2/5, but I just chose a rectangle because it's different than this shape. So I need to make sure that there's 5 equal pieces first. So I'm going to make sure that there's 5 equal pieces. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I try to make them as even as possible. Now I need to show either 2 shaded or 3 shaded. But I'm going to show 3 shaded because that's what it showed in this picture. So I'm going to show 3 shaded pieces. 1, 2, 3. And this figure shows 3/5 because 1, 2, 3, there's 3 shaded, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 5 equal pieces. So this shows 3/5. And it also shows 2/5 because there's 2 unshaded, 1, 2, and there are 5 equal pieces. All right, let's look at the next one. I want you to try doing the next one on your own for a minute before I go on. So I'm going to give you a minute to try to figure it out, or you can pause the video and then you can check your answer. So I'm going to go ahead and do this problem. So at the top, it's going to be 1 because it represents the whole entire shape. Then I'm going to do the unshaded first. 1, 2, 3. That's going to be my number on the top. And 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 equal pieces. Good. Now I'm going to do the unshaded part. So there's 1 unshaded piece. And I already know that there's 4 equal pieces because I already counted that for the shaded part. Now, let me zoom in a little bit. I chose a square to show my shape because that's different than a triangle that I have. So first I need to make sure that there's 4 equal pieces. So I'm going to make my 4 equal pieces like that. You can choose however way you want to do it. And now I'm going to show the shaded part first. So this was my shaded part. How many shaded pieces did we see in this figure? We saw 3. So I'm going to shade 1, 2, and 3. And this shows 3/4 because I have 3 shaded and 4 equal pieces. And it also shows 1/4 because I have 1 unshaded and 4 equal pieces. So that's how you do that problem. All right, let's move on. Now it's going to get a little bit trickier. So let's read number 3. It says, draw a number bond with 2 parts showing the shaded and unshaded fractions on the figure. Decompose both parts of the number bond into unit fractions. So let's look at our picture first. We're going to look at this picture right here. So if I cover this part for right now, and we see this is similar to what we just did. They put 1 at the top, and then they showed the unshaded piece first. So we see that there's 1 and 3 equal pieces. 1, 2, 3. And they put 3. Now here, they didn't put the shaded piece. So we got to finish up the shaded piece that they didn't do. So how many shaded pieces are there? There's 2. So we're going to fill that in. Now we can look at this part. They just want us to add the unit fractions. So 1/3 is our unit fraction. But 2/3, we're going to look at that top number right here. That's 1/3 and 1/3. Remember, if I add both of those pieces, that 3 stays the same at the bottom because the bottom number does not change. And if I do 1 plus 1, that's going to equal 2/3. Okay, now this picture is going to show for our next number bond. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cover it up and show this part first. So let's look at this picture right here. I'm going to break it apart so we can focus on it. The picture above shows what's going to be on the top. It shows the whole entire shape. So that's going to be 1. Now let's put in our first bond, the shaded part. So we see that there's 1 shaded piece, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 equal pieces. Okay, now let's do the unshaded part. 1, 2, 3. And we already know that there's 4 equal pieces. Now, what is our unit fraction? Our unit fraction is going to be 1/4. Remember, each of these pieces, our unit fraction is each of these pieces. So this is 1/4. This is 1/4. Each little piece in this rectangle is 1/4, and that is our unit fraction. Each little piece. So if we look here, we have our unit fraction for right here, 1/4, and 3/4. If we broke it apart, it would be 1/4 and 1/4 and 1/4 3 times because this is 3/4. 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 equals 3/4. Because remember, the bottom number stays the same when we add fractions, and we just add the top number. 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3, and that gives us our fraction. All right, that was a little tricky. Okay, so let's read the directions. It says, Johnny made a square peanut butter and jelly sandwich. He ate 1/3 of it and left the rest on his plate. Draw a picture of Johnny's sandwich. Shade the part he left on his plate. I'm going to underline that because it's very important. Shade the part he left on his plate. And then draw a number bond that matches what you drew. What fraction of a sandwich did Johnny leave on his plate? So we have a couple of different parts on this. So I drew his square peanut butter sandwich, and it says that he ate 1/3. Now if we look at this fraction, 1/3, if we look at the bottom number, that tells us how many pieces of a sandwich there are in total. Remember, the bottom number shows the total of equal pieces there are. So I'm going to split his sandwich into 3 pieces. And it says he ate 1/3 of it. So I'm going to put an X in it because that shows that he ate 1/3. Now it says shade the part he left on his plate. So he shaded this part and this part. So what is the fraction that he left on his plate? Well, we have 1 part shaded and 2 parts shaded, so that's 2. And then how many equal pieces was there of a sandwich? 1, 2, 3. So he left 2/3 of his sandwich on his plate, and he ate 1/3. That's the one that I put an X in. All right. Now, the second part is we need to draw a number bond to match the picture. So, if we remember, what is the number that's going to be on the top? Always, because that represents the whole entire shape. 1. Good. Now we can fill in our number bonds. So we know that he ate 1/3 of his sandwich. And then how much did he leave on his plate? What fraction was that? It was 2/3. Now, if you want to challenge yourself, we can write the unit fraction for 2/3. What is our unit fraction? Our unit fraction is 1/3, because this is 1/3, this piece is 1/3, and this piece is 1/3. Each of these pieces equals 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So 2/3 is 1/3 and another 1/3. And if I added those together, 1/3 plus 1/3, remember the number on the bottom is 3, because it doesn't change. And if I do 1 plus 1, that equals 2, and that gives us 2/3. So that was a little challenge. All right. And that is all for week 5, day 2. Remember, if you have any questions, you can contact me, Miss Fifield, or Miss Fisher. Also, remember that you have your Zearn account. You can also go on SC Math. And also, on Thursday, this upcoming Thursday, you can pick up your packets from Tubman for week 6 and week 7. So on Thursday, I don't know the times yet, but once I figure out the times, I'll let you guys know, and I'll text some parents too. All right, have a good one. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.